Hi, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, whatever, wherever you are in the world today. So I hope you're all doing well. Some of you have suffered through this storm barrel, and others have had some. It's been a heck of a summer, I'll tell you, as far as weather is concerned. So I hope you're all safe, staying cool, have electricity, and all those things, and that you're able to be doing some good business here. I'm hoping that I can bring you. My plan is to bring you some good information today. And I see a lot of you that are highly experienced on here, and I see some of you that are newbies. And I think that I've got information for both of you, or all of you in that group, so that I can touch and bring some valuable information to all of you. So I'm hoping that's the case. I'm Dale Donovan B. If you don't know me, I'm a MAPS coach for almost 3 years now. I have been with KW Commercial for 14 years. And been in the industry for 35. I am seasoned, not a senior. So I've been around. My primary practice had been land and development, but we went through 35 years of commercial real estate. As you know, there's ups and downs and roller coaster rides. So through the years, I had also morphed into a generalist, depending on where I was, from South Florida, Central Florida. I've done retail. I've done single tenant, triple net lease all over the nation. I've done business throughout Florida, and as I said, nationally as well. So I've done primarily industrial, retail, some office, but primarily flex, multi-space or multi-tenant flex space. So, but I have an experience in a little bit of everything. So I hope I bring some of that to the table. I don't know everything, but I know somebody that does. So if you have questions on something, if I don't have the answer, I can usually find an expert that can bring you the answer. Right now, we're in an industry and a time that is really difficult to get things done. Am I right? Yeah. It takes a little bit longer than it did before, than it did in the last couple of years. So we have to be really cautious of who we're working with. I am very proud to be working with a couple of fellows that are really tremendous support to me. I'm working with Graham Trainer, who is the head of Fast Track. And Graham has been my right arm, and I appreciate everything that he's done. I'm very fortunate to have him with me and working with me side by side in Fast Track. Also, I have Tristan Fabular. He is my executive virtual assistant, and he is my left arm. So without the two of these guys, I would not be as successful as I am. So I thank you both very much, and I'm very appreciative. Speaking of that, tell me one good thing that's happened to you this week. I want to hear from a couple of you. Tell me a good thing that's happened to you this week. Peggy, you're on mute.
All my houses are safe. All the buildings are safe. So that's one good thing. Nobody has electricity, but they're all safe.
Well, that's great. It's a good thing that you're all safe, not that you don't have electricity. So good for you. Tell me one more good thing.
Me, Dale, Anna.
Okay, go for it.
So I just came back into production, and I just executed 2 commercial leases. So I'm excited.
Oh, back into commercial and just did 2. All right, good for you. Who's speaking?
It's me. I'm just over here by the computer.
Oh, there you are, Anna. All right, good. I didn't see who it was. I could hear the voice and I recognized it, but I thought, who is that? Okay, wonderful. Congratulations, 2 leases. Excellent. So, well, some of these people are my mastery clients on here. Some of the people I've worked with before, and some of them are regional ambassadors for commercial. So we've got a great group of people here. I'm going to jump right in. We only have about a half an hour or so to work together. So quality versus quantity. What does that mean? It means you need to do more with less. We are looking at what type of clients that we have, what that is going to be bringing to us as far as opportunities and how we can get to the closing table. So next slide, please, Tris. On the menu for today is high caliber deals. What are we looking at for those high caliber deals? What does the prospect have to bring to the table for us to see that they are going to be qualified? Professional and business standards. That is our standards for how the client does business with us. We have requirements for them, but we need to have requirements that are going for them to meet with the landlord or the buyer to get the deal done. But we have professional standards that we have to meet with ourselves. And we need to stick to those and be true to those and have confidence in our own value enough that we don't wander around those and go where we shouldn't be going and get to deals that are not going to close or that take forever or that got hair all over them and drive us crazy and lead us to either drink, Valium, or pray, or maybe all of those. Numeral qualifications. We have a way to rate. And I know you all, some of you that are experienced have already been in the process of rating how you identify quality deals and all of that. I'm hoping to add to that. You've probably seen some of this before, but it's always great to be a refresher. Next slide, please, Tris. In working with my clients in Mastery and in work in myself, I have found that through the years, if I dealt with 20 smaller deals, I could get a lot more done with 10 bigger deals, a lot less stress. Working with the smaller deals and transactions, and we'll get into what bigger, larger means to you, but dealing with the larger deals and the larger transactions, say over $1 million, all right. You're working with professionals, you're working with people that have done it before, you're working with business people that have business acumen that understand it. Under $1 million, you're probably working with an individual. You're probably working a bit with a business owner, either a new business owner or something along that line. So working in that $1 million line and above, not only is the opportunity for you to be able to raise the dollar average of your transaction and your commission, but it also raises the value of the quality of the deal because of the client that you're working with. Does that make sense? Has anybody experienced that? If you're working with new people that are coming in and brand new businesses and an individual, then you're going to find you're working with a lot harder, right? You got a lot of hand holding to do and all of that. So not that we don't have that in the larger deals, we do, but it's at a different level. So we don't have to go through the decision-making process and who's going to do what, and what do we have and where are we going and all of that. You have somebody that's got the P&Ls, they've got the financial statements, they've got information that follows them through their business. They have a success track record. They've been to the bank. They have financial statements that they can show to the landlord. They have a history. So there are things that in a quality deal, it's not just the dollar value, but it's also raising the bar on the type of client that you're working with. Is that a yes or a yes? You like that one? Okay. Enhance the average transaction dollar volume. If you're working at 500, take it up. If your mindset is at 500 or 750, you're going to get 450 or 600. If you set your mind at $1 million, you're going to get $1.2 million. You may get 900. But if you set it at 2 million, you may get 1.2 million, you may 1.5 million. But that goal that you set for yourself is going to put your mind in a place of saying, gosh, I don't know whether, we fear that we're going to turn down a $500 deal and it's going to be $15,000 in our pocket. And we shouldn't walk away from that. Take a look at it. Make sure it's what you want to be doing. Increase the dollar volume of the transaction and your transaction, or equal. If you have the equal, so you do 10 transactions a year. Let's just use an average of say 200,000. You do 10 transactions a year, and you're at 20,000 each. All right, you raise that up, and you increase your transaction dollar volume. All right, so now you're looking at raising that up without having to change the number of units. You're still doing the same amount of deals, but you're doing it at a higher level because you're at the higher dollar volume. I have Mastery clients that have done this over a period of 6 months to a year. They have doubled or tripled their income with the same amount of work. Mindset of what you're looking at for the quality of the deal. If you work in fear that you're going to lose it and that you're not going to get anything better than that, then that's where you'll stay. But if you reach for that quality client, the deal that's going to give you the volume of the transaction that you're looking for, and we're going to get into what your average is too. Don't worry about what's going on as far as we hear a lot of this, buyer representation, all that. We're doing that anyway in commercial real estate, so we don't have to worry about that as much. But if you're delivering value, you don't have to worry about the client paying you. They will pay you. And if they're hesitant in paying you, if they're negotiating your commission, you're not going to have a quality client because they don't value what you're doing. So you have to work with people that value you as much as you value yourself. Don't doubt yourself. The value that you bring to the table, if you have market knowledge, if you have somewhat of experience, there's nobody on here that's a youngster. I'm looking at you. I'm sorry. There's nobody on here that's a youngster. So you've all got life experience. You all have some kind of business experience, whether you're new to commercial or whether you're new to a particular area or whatever. You've got enough, gut instincts to be able to get you through these first initial things. And there's so much training available through KW Commercial that you'll be able to deliver the value and know your own worth. Don't allow anyone else to tell you you're not worth it. You are. Next slide, please, Tris. Okay. I'm not going to go into all the details here, but here's an example that I just told you before. If you have a goal set set a goal for your GCI in sales and set a goal for your GCI in leases. Probably most of us are doing both. There may be some of us that are tenant buyer reps primarily, and some of us that are listing agents primarily. But set goals for both so that you can see what percentage of the business you're bringing in sales and what percentages you're bringing in leases. And that, that's buyer listing or on the tenant side, and find where your sweet spot is your, right now, look at all of your deals and transactions, see what your GCI is, find out what your number of units are. How many units have you done this year? Divide that into what your GCI is today, and you'll have your average. Okay. You'll have what your average transaction is. Now, because of everything that's been going on with the lawsuits and all of that, I'm not able to say whether it's 2% or 3% or 4% or even make a recommendation. So I gave you a bunch of options. Pick your number. If you're doing it a 3% transaction and you're making 7,000 or 7,500, which is one of my clients recently told me they had a 7,500 minimum on leases. What if they double that? All right. Now they're looking at a minimum that they're going to take in a client of $15,000. The work is so much easier at $15,000 in commission or at that level of a deal and transaction than it is at 7,500. Not that we shouldn't be doing those. There's times that we need to be doing those. We have clients that come to us, and there may be other opportunities. So this is not a dyed in wool absolute rule. This is something that can guide you. All right. There's always exceptions in real estate, in commercial real estate. Nothing in 35 years has ever stayed the same. The only thing that stayed the same is there's change. You've heard that, right? The only thing that stays the same is change. We always have change. So find out what your average transaction is. When we get off the phone today, go look and see what your GCI is, see how many deals that you've done, and divide that and find out what your average transaction is. Set your mind today that between now and the end of the year, you're going to raise that quality of deal so that you don't have to go through this battle every time. Believe me, it will make a difference. And set a minimum commission for yourself on leases, on whatever it is that you're dealing with, and set that in your mind. You go, well, what do I do if I brought a referral? Go through the situation. If you're getting something that's under the minimum commission dollar that you're looking for, and you go back and look at this deal and you get them to qualify themselves, you don't have to qualify them. They have to qualify themselves. It's a buyer. They have to come to the table with proof of funds. If anybody is transitioning from residential, or you've been in that and you're coming back into commercial, or you're coming into commercial for the first time, or those that have been here, there's not a residential agent out here that's giving a referral that wouldn't understand if you go back to them and say, the client has got to be, they've got to have proof of funds. They have to show to me that they can do this. They have to show to the seller that they can do this. So make sure that you have that part of the scenario in your brain, that it's their idea, it's their responsibility to be able to qualify themselves and to prove to you and to the seller or to the landlord, whoever it is that's on the other side of this transaction, that they're capable of doing the deal. That's not your responsibility. And they need to do that before you show them the property, not after. Because if you take them out there and, if you're new to the industry, or if you're new to an area, or even when you have a reputation that's good, you start taking people out that are not qualified, the other broker's not going to pay attention to you, particularly we're in Keller Williams, all right, with KW Commercial. We already have a battle uphill of thinking, oh, well, these people may or may not know, that they're all the deals that are available and the way they should be doing them in commercial real estate. So don't go out there and do deals and present people to the other brokers and to the community that you're in that are not qualified. You'll get a reputation and they won't return your phone calls. It'll be even harder, let's say, to get the phone calls returned. Does that make sense? Okay. Next slide, please, Tris. Quality versus qualifying. We used to say ready, willing, and able. Now we say able, ready, and willing. But you see that big red expectations on the other side? That's the key. They can be able, they can be ready, and they can be willing. They can be qualified. They can have the money. They can have proof of funds. They can have their business plan. They can have 2 years of taxes, or they're listing. And this goes with your listings as well. They can have everything ready to go. They can provide you all the information, all the details, everything seems to be working, but their expectations don't match the market. This is not a time to convince people to do what they need to be doing, or to convince them that they should be doing a deal. Finding them motivated, which is going to be one of my next series, is the opportunity that you need to have. You need to be looking for. So quality is qualifying. If they're not qualified, move on. You will find those that are motivated and are qualified. And a lot of times the smaller deals and those that are not at the level that you want to be at, most of the time they will self-eliminate. Do you know what that means? Self-eliminate? That means they won't be able to provide all the information that you need. So you can't show them the property because they haven't met the qualifications. So they've self-eliminated. If you explain to them that they need 6 to 9 months of money in the bank, that they need to have a business plan, that they need to have 2 years of tax returns, they need to have some sort of quality history, so that the landlord, or that that they have the proof of funds from the bank, so that you're able to move forward, then you've got a quality client. If they don't have all of that, explain it to them so that they understand. Now you're helping them, because maybe they'll reach it at some point in time. When they do reach it and you show them how to do it, send them to SBA.gov if they don't have a business plan, those kinds of things. So if you're helping them find a way to get done what they want to get done, you are still helping them. Okay, next slide, Tris. How do you find these people? Oops. How do you find these? Oh, hello. Okay, identify who's your audience, who's your target market, who you're going after. If you've had a successful deal, circle market. Find the properties that are around it. Look for the owners of those properties. Look for the opportunities that are around something that you've been successful with, because you can go into that market and say, this is what we've done. This is how we did it. Do you know anyone that might be interested in doing something similar? Do you know anyone that could use our services? You don't have to approach them and get them to say yes or no. Ask them if they know somebody. It's a great intro. Segment properties and audiences into logical groups to target. Make sure that you're looking at the right type of audience for what you want. I have clients that say to me, my coaching clients will say to me, oh, I've got this great pipeline. Oh, this is a great pipeline. Got all these great buyers. And, I said, well, how is that? Are they going to close within the next 6 months? What's that looking like? And they go, we just don't have the inventory. I said, you don't have a pipeline. You have names on a list. If you have an inventory, or if you have a pipeline of buyers or tenants and you can't find the inventory for them, you don't have a pipeline. You have a list of maybe something, but you don't have a pipeline. You need to have deals that are an opportunity that you can find either the inventory, or that you can find the buyers or the tenants for. So if you're on the listing side, you hold the inventory. All right. You're the one that are holding the inventory. That's why we like the listing so much, because then we can do something with that if it's meeting the expectations of the market and there's not a lot of hair on it, and it's not for land development unless you're in an area that's growing like crazy. So watch for those key areas that you're looking for and how you target them. Make sure when you're going into that you're telling stories about what's going on in the market. Not only that you're telling stories, but that there are you know, that you get them to tell stories about what's going on in their world as well, rather than just asking questions of them and saying, well, why are you doing this? Or, you know, when do you have to move? Or, you know, those direct kind of questions, get them to talk to you about their business. You know, what's going on? How are you doing this? You know, who's your audience? Why are you moving? You know, what is it that you want to do? Why are you selling? You know, not why necessarily, but what's behind that? What's the purpose? You know, what are you looking to do in the next 2 years? Ask the questions that get into the purpose behind what they're doing so that you understand. It will not only help you in the process of qualifying them, it will help you in the process of negotiations, because you'll know what's going on in their head and why they're doing this. And that will give you the opportunity to be able to negotiate with them or get them to negotiate in a way that's going to be able to meet their goals. Is that a cool? You like that one? Okay. Design visual assets, create visual engaging graphics, videos, and other assets tailored to each audience. A lot of times people like visuals. They like to see something. I mean, I've seen now with listings, I'm seeing videos coming out. I'm seeing drone plays. I'm seeing these AI, you know, where they draw the site or the office plan, and you can see it from the external side of the camera. It's just absolutely wonderful, some of the things that are doing. Sometimes you don't need visuals, but on the other side of it, sometimes you may need something that has been coming from maybe like the Economic Development Council. They have great, let somebody else create the visuals for you, give them credit and use that in your marketing package. Okay. Develop marketing strategies and plans and campaigns effective that's going to persuade your clients, not just telling them about you. They could really care less about you. They want to know what the market's doing. They want to know how much you know. They want to know how much experience you have so that they know that they're in good hands. But it's really not about KW. It's really not about KW commercial. It's really not about you. It's really about what you can bring to them as value. So that's the story that you have to tell. Next slide, please, Tris. That's going to bring you the quality clients, because now you're a quality broker. Some of the questions you can ask, these are just a few. You see all these other lines here. And I'm going to ask for some participation here for some of you that may have a couple of other questions that you want to share. Sometimes I'm finding some of the best questions come from my audience. Some of the best deals and tips and tricks come from the audience. So I'm going to ask for your participation here a little bit. But on the commercial, for the buyers and the tenants, some of the things how long have you owned this property? You know, or not, have you ever owned other properties? Have you ever been investing in other properties? Have you ever owned anything else? Have you ever leased anything else? It gives you a history of what they've been doing so that you get an idea of who they are as a business person and what their acumen is. Don't ask them if they have an attorney. Ask them who their attorney is. I don't usually say do or don't. Always work with someone that has an attorney, and have a litany of attorneys ready for you to be able to recommend to your clients. Have a sole proprietor attorney, have a middle of the road that has maybe 3 to 5 attorneys in their office. You get different experiences, different payment plans, different expenses for these different values of firms. And then there's the highfalutin, classy, well-known clout attorney firms. Sometimes you need those, particularly if you're doing land deals and it's going through approval process, because you need somebody that has got clout with the community and in the planning and zoning department. Other times you just need an attorney to review a lease. Sometimes you need them just to go over a contract with you. I know a lot of people say, oh, I don't want the attorney involved. They always kill the deal. I'll tell you what, I'd rather have an attorney involved and have something happen and have the deal killed than not have an attorney involved and have my fanny on the line. Okay, because an attorney not only saves my client's fanny, but she also saves mine. So I always work with an attorney. If they don't have an attorney, I make a recommendation. When you have your attorney, let me know, or let me know when I can work with your attorney. So that's one of my qualifiers. It's up to you how you want to do that. But if you've worked with people that don't have attorneys, you'll know what I'm talking about. Are you currently looking at any specific properties? This is such a great question to ask them, because you don't have to say if you work with other brokers. You can just say, hey, tell me, what have you seen that you liked or didn't like? Now you're going to know what they've done, because now they're going to tell you. now you've peaked there, now they can tell you what they really think about this property, or they can tell you what they really liked about this property but didn't like. So now you're going to know that they work with another broker. So now you know what your target is. You got to get exclusivity on this prospect like ASAP, because they've already seen some other properties. You need to get them signed up ASAP. Because if you ask them, have you used another broker or using another? Oh, no, I haven't done that. Yeah, right. How many have experienced that? They tell you, no, they haven't worked with another agent, and then you find that they have. Yeah. What is, a standard acquisition? Is this a standard acquisition? Are they looking to do, if they're acquiring it, is this a 1031? Are they looking to stay in it for 5 years? Are they, how much money are they bringing to the table? All those types of things that work with the buyers. Requirements, funding, term, timing, all those things you can find out. Give me another question that you could ask a buyer or a tenant that you think would help qualify them as you're getting to know them. Something to work for you.
Jill, I like to ask them about tenant improvements and if they have cash available, if the landlord requires them to put some money in the deal.
Absolutely. A lot of times they'll come to the table. I got first, last, and security. Yeah. Okay. So what about the build out? You ready to pay for that? Well, I thought the landlord's going to do that. No, that's called turnkey. You're going to pay for that. So the tenant improvements are very important. Also, it's like they'll walk in, they go, oh, you know what? I just totally forgot I need all these cabinets and showcases. Okay, you gotta buy that stuff. You have to lease that stuff or you buy that stuff. So you're right. It's not just the first, last, and security and whether they can afford the rent every month. It's what are they walking in? And a lot of landlords today are looking at the financial statements and saying, does this entity have 6 to 9 months of money in the bank to run their business and to run their personal business and to do this deal and to get this through the next 6 to 9 months if they don't have income coming in. And that's what they're going to be looking for. So make sure that you're aware of those kinds of situations. That's a good one, Chad. Does anybody else have something else they want to add? Something that works for you?
So when I go in and talk to, whether it's a tenant or an owner, I say, what would it take to keep you in this building?
Oh, good one. Good one.
Because then I find out what's wrong with the building. That when I get the listing, I find out what the negatives are.
That's a good one, Susan. I like that. That's a real good one. That's coming at it from a different angle. I like it. We are creative thinkers, right? We have to find, because a lot of times people, I hate to say sometimes they're not even honest with themselves. So you got to get them to tell a story. So thank you for that, Susan. Okay, on the seller side, how long have you owned the real estate? Oh my gosh, if you got somebody that's had been in it for decades and you got a family to deal with, you got the sister, the brother, the aunt, the uncle, the grandfather. It's like, oh my gosh, and how long they've owned the business. That's also going to tell you a little bit about why they may wanting to get out. When did they buy it? What was the pricing then? What was the market then? What is the market now? So and sometimes they may have to move. They may have to make a move. They may have to sell the property. That's who you want. You don't have somebody say, well, maybe I can just wait. Move on. Put them on your checklist, put them on your marketing, put them on your 8x8, put them on your marketing program to follow up with them. But you don't have time to convince somebody to sell or buy now. Okay. Has the property been listed previously? You can look that up. Go on Google, go on LoopNet, go on CoStar, figure it out, but you can always ask them and see what they have to say. They say, yeah, we had it on a couple of years ago. It didn't really sell. It was blah, blah, blah. And then you're going to hear a little bit of history of the property. It's always good to have that additional information. We're not just brokers, we're detectives. Ask questions rather than asking why, when, or where. Get creative. I'm a very direct person, so I have to work at this. Can you tell I'm direct? Yeah, I have to work at this and say, why are you doing this? When do you need this? Where do you want to be? And the guy went, oh, yeah. But now I work at it a little bit. Years ago, I wanted to be able to tell a story well, to be a storyteller. So I actually went to classes and other things to be a storyteller. And I love that. But on the other side, you got to get them to tell the story too. So you got to be clever enough to get them, ask them the questions. They're going to tell a story and you're going to find out things without being as direct as why, when, and where. Encourage them to tell their story. What's their motivation? Why are they doing it? It's going to help you figure it out how to get the deal done. What other type of real estate do they own? That's another situation, you know, how many times you come into people and they have other properties, or they're other investors, or they have other things that are going on. There's other opportunities in here just besides one deal, maybe. If not, there may be in the future. Is this a 1031 exchange? Is this a cash? You know, is this a buy? You know, what is it that they want? What kind of disposition are they looking for in this particular sale of their property? You know, do they have to be at a certain time? Who are the decision makers? Who's going to sign the contracts? And how many people are actually involved in the decision? Next slide, please. Oh, before I go, tell me another thing that you use in seller, and when you're asking questions from the seller and qualifying them, what helps you?
You definitely want to ask about any capital improvements they made, or even deferred maintenance that may, you know, limit the value of the property as well. And also, you know, value add opportunities for the buyers coming in too, so they can see a lot of buyers need some sort of an opportunity to add value, increase rents, increase, you know, the quality of the building. You know, if they're going to hold it for, say, 5 years and then turn it.
Yeah, that's tricky business today too, isn't it? We have to make sure that there is an upside to this. Finding the upside sometimes is not the easiest way, but there are opportunities. I've got some multifamily clients that specialize in multifamily, and they found ways to create opportunities and add value to the multifamily dispositions and sales now. So there are ways to do it. They walk in, you know, and provide additional value to the property owners to show them what they can do for them, not only as a broker in selling their property, but how they can maybe save on expenses and those kinds of things. So we have to be creative. We have to think like the business owner. What can we do to save them money? What can we do to make them more money? It's not just increasing the rents. It's not just, you know, doing those kinds of things. It's also, like Chad said, it's how do you increase the value, the look of the property, you know, how it is, the appeal of it, and the use of it, and the amenities in the property. Thanks, Chad. Next slide, please, Tris. These are, I'm not going to go over all of these. Most of you know these, but I have a tenant application. As you can see on the right-hand side here, it's the tax returns and then tenant application. I have a tenant application. If anybody wants to have an example tenant application, it's 3 pages long. It has requests for all of this stuff that you see here on this page. And you can use that as a template to use and require them to complete this application, complete the financial statement, and provide a business plan and 2 years of taxes and those kinds of things. If you'd like the tenant application example, I'll be glad to share it with you. Drop your email address in the text box and Tris will pick that up for you. We all know business plan. If they don't have a business plan, send them to sba.gov. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of business plans. Okay, Susan, Ashley, Tris, you can pick all these up for me. Please save the chat box so we'll have all this. In fact, what I can do, if you'd like, and I'm going to just get a copy to everyone. How about that? So I'll make sure that everybody that's on here, Graham, if you'll get me the list of all the attendees today, the people that attended, I'll make sure that they get a copy of that tenant application. It's in Word document, so you can adapt it to fit you and to customize it for you. There's one thing in it that I don't like. I have not taken that out yet, I don't think. And they ask for a social security number. I wouldn't give anybody my social security number, so I take that out. I don't request that from them. But the tenant application is about 3 or 4 pages long. It has a financial statement in it. It has this list of all the things that they need. I send them this tenant application. I said, when you've completed this, and then you've checked off all those things that are on this list of requirements from the landlord, you send that to me in a package. Then I'll do some showings for you. You can always tell them what the market is. You can always tell them what's happened in the past. You can always tell them what the average lease rates are. You can tell them what the average benefits are to move into a particular area, or all these other, what the market is doing. But do not waste your time and go out there and show, they don't waste your time, you waste your own time. So make sure that they're qualified, that they have all of this to you, send it to them ahead of time, and have exclusive representation, whether it's buyer, tenant, or listing. Okay, landlord's requirement, expect a credit. Oh, and let them know that they, that they're going to have a credit check on probably. If there's any questions on this, let me know, but you'll see it on the tenant application too. Next slide, Tris. Okay. This is what I was talking about before. Now we've talked about what you need from them as far as, the paperwork and what their requirements are and all this. But how many times have you worked with a client when they were so difficult to reach? Are they financially prepared? They go, oh, I've got I don't really have my, statements together and all that. Can we just do it? I just want to see the property. No, we have to have the financial in place. Make sure that you've got clear objectives and what the criteria is. Find out when you send them the tenant representation or the exclusive representation for buyer or tenant, make sure that all their objectives are in that so that they understand what you're going to be looking for, and there's an agreement on it. Disclosure and honesty, make sure that you ask enough questions that you make sure that they're disclosing the right information to you. Make sure they've got all their legal documents in place and things are there. That they're going to cooperate during the due diligence process if they're the seller or the buyer or the seller. Make sure that they're going to want to cooperate. They're going to provide the stuff that they need to do for the buyer, and that they're going to make some timely decisions. If they have to pull 4 or 5 of the family together to make a decision, how are they going to do that? And how is that going to impact, their decision-making process, what the process is? They have to be professionals too. That's what this is about. That's what a commercial property is about. We're dealing with professionals. If they're not acting professionally, then you need to really look at this situation and possibly get out. Marketing and property presentation, making sure that you're getting all the information that you need about it to be able to market this property. Make sure that you've got all the legal documents. Make sure that you've got the, the zoning, the clearance, the things that they need to be, that they need to have. And do they have to have outside, do they have to have parking? Do they have to have, retail that you can drive up to, or, restaurant that they can drive up to? All these things that are their requirements. And make sure you have your agreement in place, exclusive agreement. It's the number 1. It shouldn't be number 10. It should be number 1. But you have to get all this other stuff first. Okay, next slide, Tris. Make sure you have standards in place, not only just for what they need to do as far as the qualifications are concerned, but also what they have to do, culturally and professionally to work with you. This is called the numeral qualifications. The next slide is going to be, I'll show you that in a second. The next slide is going to be the rating sheet. You're going to get these slides, okay? So you can print out and we're also going to send you a rating sheet as well. Okay, so when we send out the application, let's send out the rating sheet that we created for them. Okay, Tris? Okay, so numeral needs, shared a file in the chat box. Okay, needs, urgency, motivation, expectations, resources, authorization, and loyalty. Those are the things that we just talked about. Okay, where's the property? What size is it? How much do they really need? What are the amenities? How soon do they want it? Now? When? What does now mean? If you get somebody that says, I need that property yesterday, you're not dealing with a pro. You're not dealing with a professional. They don't know what they're doing. They probably don't have the financial backing and qualifications that you need to be able to go move forward with it. So you hear somebody say, I needed that yesterday. Oh, no. Now, that's also a bad one. If they don't know what they're doing, if they want a property now, it takes 6 to 9 months to find a property, whether it's sale or lease. Okay, if they're looking as a buyer or tenant, realistically, 6 to 9 months. You might get it earlier, but by the time you get billed out, by the time you do whatever it is that you need to do through the attorneys, get the lease done, go through the contract, get the, the loan, all of those things. So 6 to 9 months is the minimum. So for your information, whatever you're working on now and the deals that you have in the pipeline, they may or may not close this year, but if you're working on new deals, you're looking at 2025 business. Right now, you're building your 2025 business. Okay. I'm not going to go through all of these because I've got a couple more minutes here. All right. No, the next slide, please, Tris. I'm going to show you the qualifications and why this is important. and how you can do this. Okay, we're going to give you a cheat sheet. Okay, and numerals going to be down one side, and 1 to 5 is going to be on the other. And this is how you rate them. Of all each of the numerals, N, M, U, N, R, A, L, will have a 1 to 5 rating. You rate those 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. If you had 5 in each of those numeral categories, you'd have 35 points, right? Let's start at the top. Not qualified. If it's under 15 points or under, you know, they need further development. You need to really work on it. They're not a client yet. They're not even a prospect yet. It could be a good prospect somewhere between 16 and 20 if they're strong in some areas. Okay, that means they've got a good financial statement, but they don't really have a good track record of history, or they're new to the business. You know, so you can kind of weigh those in the 16 to 22 points. 22 to 32 points, baby, charge at them. Go for it, because these are the people that are going to be really qualified. They're the ones that are going to have all the information. Don't let them get away. Okay, this is the one. 33 to 35, there's the perfect one. Doesn't exist. If you find one, let me know, because I've never found a 30 or 35. You may think they are, but then you find out they're not. So evaluate your point system, use your cheat sheet. Don't ever let the client see it. Let them see the cheat sheet. That's for you and your evaluation. And some of these, you know, qualifications here that I'm using or something that I've, you know, picked up through the years, you can create your own as you get the experience. You'll know whether the 15 points works in this market or the 16 to 22 point works in this market, you know, and if you're ever going to get to the 22, the 32 points, yes, you will. But you can set up your own standards, but to start with, you can use this one and use that as your evaluation point, and let your experience guide you. Next slide, Tris. Okay, in summary, yes, raise the bar 2 to 3 times. It will increase your income. If you increase your dollar transaction volume, if you increase your commission structure, not increase the number as far as the percentage, but if you increase the commission that comes out of the deal because it's a higher quality deal, you're going to get the money. You're going to get the commission, and you're going to increase your GCI by 2 to 3 times. And I have proof of that in my clients. Able, ready, willing, and see on the side here, expectations, that's for all of this. Expectations are the driving factor behind everything right now. If expectations don't match, if that gap is too big between what your prospect wants and what the market is offering or has, if that gap is there, it's too big. If they need to wait, you need to walk away. For now, come back later. You don't have to say no, you just say not now. Advise them. Say, you know, what you're looking for really isn't in the market right now. I advise that you wait. They're going to look at you and go, oh my God, a broker actually told me to wait. You know, and if you think that's the case, do that. Don't go just after the commission. Help the client. Figure out how you can help the client, and you will get the value, and they will pay you, and you will get the deal done if you're helping the client. Owner landlord requirements, it's so important. It's not what we want. Yes, it helps us qualify and deal with it, but it's what the owner and the landlord wants, is what the industry requires. This isn't something we came up with the top of our head. All right. Tenant buyer representation. You must have this in writing. This must be in writing, not at the end, at the beginning. And if you're working as a tenant or buyer representation, you need the other side's agent to sign off on your agreement. If you have it in a letter of intent, right, it's not enforceable. And if you wait to go to contract, you're going to have negotiations. Get an email, get a signed agreement, a co-broker agreement from the other side that says that you're going to be paid a certain commission. Talk about it up front. You don't have to say with the first words out of your mouth, what's my commission going to be? Because you'll be seen as a novice. Okay. But as you're going through the deal and you're talking to them about the deal, and say, so what's the commission structure for the buyer side? What's the commission structure for the tenant side? You know, I'd like to put that in writing to you. Okay. Professional. And if they hesitate, they dance around it, you know, you got a problem right up front. This goes back to my go ugly early, folks. I'm called the go ugly early gal. I'd rather raise that red flag right to begin with than to not be able to Oh, look at all these questions in here. Okay. Somebody wish me happy birthday. Okay, let me go back here for a second. Tenant buyer representation, numeral, do this, do this rating situation, print out a bunch of them and have them on your desk. So as you're talking to the client, you're going to see where they fit out. If you have a little cheat sheet for what you're asking your buyers or your tenants or your listings, you're going to be able to do that. If you've got listings out there and buyers are calling in, don't let them get away if it's this and then the property for them. You may have an opportunity there to show them something else. Don't let them get away. There's too much going on. Chris, what are you doing to me? I got a black box on the screen here. Okay, you will get this in a slide presentation. Let's see. Next slide, please, Tris. The summary is there. Here's something I want all of you to be aware of. Okay, we're going to do Q&A in just a second here. This is a critical time for us to be able to be aware of what we're doing with our clients. Don't work in fear here. Work in anticipation of working or of dealing with professionals. Don't be afraid of losing a deal. Keep your standards in place. The stronger you keep your standards, the more value you have to yourself. You will feel so good the first time you say not now. It empowers you, believe me, because you know in your gut that this deal may or may not work. You're going to know it. So go with your gut instincts. I trust you to do it. You got to trust yourself. Next slide, Tris. Okay, I know there's thousands. It looks like there's a lot of questions in here in the chat box. Let me see what I can see here. Okay, everybody wants that. Follow the call if you have questions. Okay, fast track. My information is going to be here. Yeah. Thank you for the happy birthday wishes. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Tell me what you're walking away with. Give me one thing that you're taking away of value.
Dale, this is Barry Coggins. I know one of the big things that I take away from this is just a Q&A for your clients when you're sitting down and talking to them to try to qualify them and walk them through that initial, just your initial discovery meetings with them. That's valuable.
Yes, it is very, and I'll tell you what, I interview a lot of times on the phone or when I'm interviewing in person. Say it's a residential referral to me, and sometimes they're tough to qualify, right? So you're sitting in the room and you recognize that they're not going to be qualified. You tell them, educate them, say, this is what you're going to need. This is what the landlord's going to require from you. This is, and I have only one time in the 35 years had a person get angry with me when I told them that I wasn't going to represent them. I didn't say I wasn't going to represent them. I just said they weren't ready yet. Here's what you need to do. Here's where you need to go. This is what you need to put together. And they walk out, they hug me and say, thank you, Dale. And the residential agent is thrilled because I'm helping the client. I haven't walked away from them. I'm helping them. They're just not ready yet. Residential agents referring this will understand that. They're business professionals too. They're going to get it. They're not going to take somebody out that's not qualified. And if you tell them that they're not qualified yet, but you're helping them get qualified, they're going to appreciate you and they're going to send you more referrals.
That's right.
Okay. Tell me another takeaway. Something of value you're taking away with you today.
I would say for me, just those list of questions like, hey, this is what you need. But then also, so two things, that would be one, like the specifics for buyer and seller. And then also just the ranking system that you have. I think the ranking system that you have is super valuable just so you can see it and concretely, hey, this person is worth investing more time to, or hey, this person's not, and here's why. And it's like that, that's super valuable for me.
A lot of us have, there's, whether we have the DISC or not, we have the DI, S, and C. Can you tell I'm a very high ID? I don't have very little S and C in me. And most of us are probably I and D, but there are a lot of us that do have the S and C in you. So your heart's going to say, oh, I want to help them. I really want to help them. I really want to help this person. They're just new in business. And I like this woman. It's woman to woman. I really want to help her. It's like, oh, this guy's just new in business. And, he knows my brother. And I really want, that's wonderful. Help them by educating them, not by wasting your time. Because you're going to waste your time. And who's more important than anybody in the world? And this isn't being selfish. This is being a professional. You are a professional and you need to get paid for your time. I don't know any attorney in the world that doesn't get paid for their time. Believe me, we have education and we are professionals. We need to get paid for our time. Okay. I need a favor from you all. Okay, next slide, please, Tris. As you know, I am the coach for the commercial mentorship program. If you know anyone that can benefit from this kind of information, from the beginning of their career to, I've got people in the commercial mentorship program that have been in it for 15, 20 years, and they're either enhancing their skill set or helping their mentees or doing something that's going to, rekindle some of their talents and experiences. If you know anyone, give them this information. We're going to send this to you. It's in the chat box. And Chad, I've got quite a few of my people that are on here are either my clients or they've been in the CMP course. Chad, just thank you for the reference there, Chad. I appreciate it. And Trish, you got that black thing on the screen again. It starts on the 31st of July. All right. And it's for 18 series. We have a couple of things off. It ends just 2 weeks before the holidays in December. So we have the first 2 weeks in December. There's holidays, there's Thanksgiving, there's other things that we have in between there. Get them to sign up for this. Sign up for this. It's a 190. If you sign up before Friday, it's a 15% discount for the entire program. All right, before Friday. So get them to sign up. The registration information is going to be in the link too. So put that in the link for us, Tris. Next slide. I have another class on the 17th, which is called the site selection process, how to master the site selection process. So watch for that. It's on next Thursday. The following Thursday, I have one that's called Find the Motivated. It's a series, it's a session like this. So join me for those as well. This is a way for me to really attract also commercial mentorship group to get us going, rocking and rolling. I have a fantastic group this year that have just been very participatory, and they have just done an incredible job and hung in there with me. So I've got a couple more classes with them, and this will be our 6th series. So I have honed this program. It is full of documents, information. I share my things with you as much as I can possibly, and then you have to adapt it. I always have that, always make sure it's yours, customize it for you, fit it to your state, do what your laws require and all of that. But I'll share as much information as I can. That's my mission. That's my passion, is to help all of you be successful, not to make the same mistakes I have, and so that you can go ugly early. Next slide, Tristan. That's it. Thank you, everybody. If you have questions, please take down my information here. It's Donovan at KW Commercial, and my phone number. Text me first. Okay, text me first. Just put my number, the stuff in the chat box. Text me first, and then I can arrange to chat with you. If you don't know how to save the chat box, go to your chat box. Look up at the top right-hand corner. You'll see the 3 little dots up in the right-hand corner of the chat box. Everybody see that? You click on that. Let me make sure I'm saying it right. It says next to the name of the chat. Click on that, and it'll say, the top line says save chat. It'll save it onto your computer. All right, so you don't even have to go in and do this. It'll be saved onto your computer. So save your chat if you haven't saved it before. Okay, if you haven't done that one before, that's another value you just got. Okay, everybody have a super weekend, and it's coming up. I'm glad everybody is safe. Stay cool, calm, and collected, and let's do some business together and make 2024, the rest of this year, successful, and let's make money in 2025 too. See you next week. Bye,
Thanks.
folks.